This is probably one of the craziest videos I've ever done. So do me a favor and watch till the end because there's a reveal I don't want you to miss. I've had a couple of questions in mind. Who is behind this push to cancel or whatever Joe Rogan? And why is this happening right now of all times? Well, one thing that really got my attention was we just segued from Joe Rogan as a place of misinformation about the pandemic to, yeah, look at all these other problematic things. Nobody acknowledged this. Nobody acknowledged that there was a gear shift there and that all of a sudden the goalposts had moved. And hey, I thought we were really upset about the medical misinformation. Now you're on to something else here? The group behind so much of this is a group called Patriot Takes. And this is their Twitter account right here. Now it says partnered with Midas Touch, and this part's important. I'm going to explain that to you in a second and show you where their money comes from. But Patriot Takes is taking all the responsibility for some of the takedowns of Joe Rogan. And they have ridiculous statements like this. After Joe Rogan apologized on February 5th, they put this statement out and they say, look right here. By not terminating Joe Rogan, Spotify will make clear to the world that not only does it approve of disinformation, but that Spotify is an inherently racist company. So either do what we're saying with our Twitter account over here and fire this guy and stifle his speech, or you're just automatically racist. This shows you that they're using that term as a blunt weapon. And this is no accident. The group behind Patriot Takes is a super PAC. You know what a super PAC is? It's a big political action committee, a committee that takes a lot of money in and funnels that money around usually to other groups. And that's what Midas Touch is. And it's run by these three brothers. They have a pretty big Twitter account and they brag about how many views they get online. You can see right here on their website. Since our inception, we've amassed and energized an engaged Twitter army of hundreds of thousands of followers, garnered over 1 billion online impressions, and helped Democrats win the 2020 presidential and Georgia runoff elections. They're not afraid to pat themselves on the back. And it's these three brothers right here. These are the three guys that are running Midas Touch and probably running the actual Patriot Takes account. So Ben Masalis, I think is how you say the name, Brett, and Jordan, the three brothers are the ones that are running this organization called Midas Touch. Now, let's look at their money real quick before we have the ultimate takedown of one of these three brothers. Really, all of them. This is the actual opensecrets.org background and summary of the Political Action Committee Midas Touch. You can see here in 2020, they raised about 4.7 million, spent 4.2 of it. They're churning through some money over there. In 2022, they've already raised 1.5 million. Remember, it's February and spent 1.7 million dollars. They've spent even more than they took in. In fact, it's probably got them at about flat right now. But not to worry because they have some big time donors out there. You can see some of the names on here. Up top, Adelaide Gomer. Who's that, right? Who's this person? They donated $10,000. Adelaide Park Gomer is an heiress to the Duncan Hines fortune. I'm sure you're familiar with the Duncan Hines company. She's a left of center activist, far left activist, who gets behind all sorts of groups. And if you go down here, you can even see that she's worked with Emily's List, Act Blue, MoveOn.org, blah, blah, blah. She works for all the regular groups you could think of. And she's helping fund, among other people, this Midas Touch group. Now, what do they spend their money on? It was almost all commercials, TV ads promoting them. So the brothers could get more famous. The social media profiles would gain more attention, more followers, more clout, more money, baby. And they spent 81.56% of their expenditures on media, on commercials. And you could see where they donated money. $42,000 to the Lincoln Project. If you don't know what that is, Google it and you'll see why it could be an issue. Now, look at this. What do we have here? If you needed any further proof that this was a political thing, they spent $311,000 against Republicans. 100% of their super PAC spending was against Republicans, mostly Ron Johnson, Josh Hawley, and Ted Cruz. They were trying to affect those different elections. Again, stay with me for the big takedown. So now we go to Dave Portnoy. You might know him from Barstool Sports. He saw what was going on with these guys and he reached out. He said, hey, Ben is one of those three brothers from Midas Touch. He said, "Hey, Ben, I'd like to have you on my podcast to talk about cancel culture, my past Kaepernick remarks, and the anti-Dave Portnoy propaganda videos I presume you've helped make about me in the past. You're more than welcome to bring your brothers as well." They said, "You have our number, Stool Presidente." That's him. "Give us a ring." Now, here's the most amazing part, and I'm so glad you made it this far because it's absolutely worth it. These are the three brothers, right? Right here. I'm in front of one of them. I'll dive out of the way here for a second if I can. These are the three brothers. That is the group of three brothers that is at the center of Midas Touch. This one here, and this one here. This is obviously Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports down here. Now he's talking to them, and watch what happens in the middle of the interview. Here we go.
But if you're having a discussion about whether you should use it, that context matters, no?
I think that it does, and I think that you should not say the word, but that was not what even took place there.
All right, so they're talking about racial slurs and the N-word in particular, and he said, "I think context matters," and he's referring to what was going on in this Joe Rogan video. Now wait for it.
Okay, but let's put this privately, and I'm not going to bring up. I have definitive proof of one of you three using the word in a text conversation with a friend from 2014 that somebody sent to me. It shouldn't be used, but I swear to God, I haven't.
But okay,
that's a lie.
Yeah,
you think I'd lie about that?
I think you would lie about that.
Does anyone here have a fiance named Lexi?
I think you'd absolutely lie about that.
Am I lying about what I just said?
And if someone has a fiance named Lexi, that is the decision right here?
No, I'm asking,
there's no right context whatsoever to anybody using the word.
Is Lexi a person in one of your lives?
Jordy's fiance is Lexi.
Yes, my fiance is Lexi.
And so that means Jordy did
it.
I'm saying I have definitive proof.
Okay, if you have definitive proof.
But that doesn't define like everything. And I've never done a private conversation. I've done 3 times all on air. I think context very much matters.
Oh boy. The three goons that were getting together for political reasons to get Joe Rogan, at least one of them in text messages with receipts, has proven themselves to be totally willing to use this exact word. The word that they're now saying is the end of the world and should be the end of Joe Rogan's career. But there's more, friends. At the heart of their finances, opaque finances, says Rolling Stone, is an arrangement with a Virginia company called Prestige WW, Prestige Worldwide, from the Step Brothers movie. Prestige received more than $500,000 of Midas donor money. FEC filings show. Prestige is run by Adam Parkhomenko, Midas's political strategist and a former aide to Hillary Clinton, who later did political work for Michael Avenatti, a one-time anti-Trump hero who was convicted last scheme of a $20 million extortion scheme from Nike. So as you can see in here, the money is funneling around in circles. But who else is behind this whole push? Well, here's the New York Post. They say the campaign to get Joe Rogan off Spotify, is showing no sign of slowing down, with a Twitter user going viral for highlighting the most hateful things the polarizing podcaster has said. Who's that? Well, it's somebody named Alex Patterson, who describes himself as a paid Joe Rogan watchdog. Boy, is there anything else we should put in this article? Like maybe the fact that Alex Patterson works for Media Matters for America? Media Matters for America is explicitly a leftist organization that goes after people who speak to different political ideology than they do, which means that their reason for targeting him and the reason that this person has a job just listening to the Joe Rogan show and cutting up these little clips that they can then take out of context is because they believe that there are disagreements between these two groups politically. Mind-blowing. Media Matters and other major groups behind this, and it's clearly political. So as many of these stories as you want to put out there, go for it, right? But it's apparent to people, it's like, hey, again, how do we get from talking about the medical misinformation to this so fast? And all these clips are just ready to go. Well, it's because people have been paid to do this. They are paid by these organizations to take down somebody who is in political disagreement with them. And all they wonder is, why do so many people watch? Why do so many people listen? It's because they have zero trust in national and local news organizations, much more so national news organizations. Look at these numbers. People don't trust what they're hearing out there in the media. And who can blame them? So people seek out some sort of alternative information source. like Joe Rogan, for example. And this does nothing but really, I think, spotlight the fact that there are people like these groups, Midas Touch, like Media Matters for America, that are going after a voice that they feel like they can't control. I just wish they were honest enough to say they were going after him because they were in political disagreement with him. That's the thing that they're hiding here. Even though, as you heard, some of them have used the word that they're so outraged about themselves. You see this guy up here in the top left? That is him crapping his pants. And the other two are wondering, was it me? Was it my text messages? Maybe that's on the way as well. It seems there's always something that these people aren't willing to share with you. Let me know what you think. Is this all political? Is this a witch hunt? Is this because they see a voice that they cannot control and they just can't deal with that? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd appreciate that as always. Facebook.com/The News Junkie. Hit that follow button for videos just like this every day. YouTube.com/The News Junkie. Hit subscribe. Appreciate you watching as always. I'll interact with the comments. And oh, by the way, you can support below by supporting the show. You're helping me make videos just like this. We'll talk to you again real soon.